And a pleasant good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of the Coach's Corner here on Beaver County Radio, WBVP, Wnba, 99.3 FM, 95.7 FM, here from the St. Barnabas studio in Beaver Falls. Want to thank Mike Azadian for co-hosting the show the last couple weeks with John Perotto. And John's with me, Coach Gino DeMarco. 30 years at the helm of Geneva College is our special guest tonight. And we also have one of our CCBC players of the game from Coach DeMarco's alma mater, Brian Taylor Jr. of New Brighton. We're going to be talking to him a little bit later in the show. John, you're doing a doubleheader today. You went to the Pirate game.
Yeah.
The Reds made it interesting, 3 in the ninth, a game that was heard on Beaver County Radio. But the Buccos get that big run in the bottom of the ninth, and you got to leave PNC Park at a reasonable time.
Yes, and I was able to make it for the doubleheader, 2 sports in one day, baseball and football. I don't know what I'm talking about in either one, probably get them all mixed up.
No, I think you know pretty much what you're talking about. And the Pirates, again, beat the Reds 4-3, and now where do they finish with St. Louis now?
They play 3 in St. Louis this weekend. Then a kind of a scheduling quirk because of the lockout delayed the start of the season. The 3 games they were beginning the year with against St. Louis at home have been tacked on to the end of the season, so they're playing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday in Pittsburgh. So 6 games in a row against the division champions to finish it off for the Pirates.
All right. Well, John, you get to go to your alma mater on Saturday, our Saturday game. I haven't had a Saturday high school game, I think, all year. Freedom at Western Beaver, 12 noon airtime, 12:30 kickoff. I saw Freedom last week. They lost by a touchdown to Riverside. That should be a good one. Friday night, you and me will be working together. Central Valley will try to extend their winning streak to 33 against the Blackhawk Cougars, who have won 3 in a row. So we'll see how close the Cougars can stay to these back-to-back state champion Warriors. And then on WNBA, this is kind of an interesting match for positioning in 3A. Hopewell, which has been playing a little bit better lately, Quaker Valley, which has a victory in the conference. So I think we got a couple good ones. You and me will be at Central Valley, and Rod Matsey back in the booth with Bruce Fry, and then you and Mike Azadian will have the Saturday game.
Yeah, doubleheader this weekend. I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to seeing Blackhawk. You know, we saw them in the opener. They struggled in the first half of the game against Beaver Falls, played much better in the second half. And like you said, they've gone on a winning streak here lately. And Central Valley, we saw them 2 earlier against Avonworth. And, I mean, they obviously look like they're poised to make another potential run at a WPIO and state title, even though they've moved up a class to 4A. They certainly have a very good team. It could go a long way. So it'll be a good measuring stick for Zach Hayward, Gino's former quarterback at Geneva and his program. And I think it'll be a good test for Central Valley because I don't think Blackhawk's going to just roll over against them. I think they'll give them a good game.
Oh, no, they'll be ready for them. 6:30 airtime for both games on Friday night.
Well, where are you sending me this weekend?
I think we have
down to Avella.
Avella and Carlinton.
I've been there.
If you can, if you're recruiting there, Coach.
When
then,
you're 0-4, that's where you go.
Well, we'll talk about your season.
Oh yeah, we will.
But
I'm telling you,
Gino DeMarco, 30th year at Geneva. Does it seem like 30 years?
No, just in the last 4 weeks, it's felt like 30 years. I mean, I want you to know today, this is history that we're making because you have never had a coach on the Coach's Corner that has lost every game.
Well,
no, you haven't.
Technically, I don't know, this late in the season.
No. This is where we're setting history.
Okay.
And you know what it reflects? It reflects society today, that it doesn't matter if you win or lose. It's almost like you get a trophy, you get a trophy, you get to be on coach's corner, no matter if you're 0-4 or 4-0. I mean, what have you done here, Bob? This used to be and is it because you brought Parado on board that all of a sudden the standard
It's lowered.
It's just been lowered.
Well, John is a Geneva grad.
Yes, he is.
You're a Geneva grad. I wasn't smart enough to go to Geneva, but I get to broadcast the games.
Yes.
John, Coach hasn't lost his sense of humor. A lot of coaches might go batty, but 0-4, I think it's safe to say a misleading record.
No,
at
he
this
hasn't
point.
lost his sense of humor, and that's the only thing he hasn't lost this season so far. But
He's making reference to the fact that I lost all of my hair 20 years
yeah,
ago.
well, that
Let's
was
just get
long
it out
before.
there so everybody understands what he's talking about.
No, it's to me, it's gone in a blink of an eye. It just seemed like yesterday that Gino replaced Gene Sullivan, who Gino played for, and just recently passed away here a few weeks ago. And to me at least, it seems like it wasn't 30 years ago that he made the coaching transition. And it's amazing in today's society, talking about today's society where everybody wants instant gratification, and if you don't win, you're out in a year or two as a coach. To see somebody in the same job for 30 years, the commitment it takes to stay in a job like that many years, and Geneva's very, very fortunate to have somebody as dedicated as Gino running that football program.
Coach, you had some great years. In fact, Gene Sullivan set the table for you, and I know he was such an influence on your career. But you seem to elevate the program, even though Gene got to the quarterfinals one year in 1987 in the NAIA playoffs. You really set the tone for great years to come in the NAIA. Let's talk about your early days as a coach, taking over from Gene. And Gene stayed on as an assistant for, about another 20 years?
Yeah, I mean, when you think about that, there's no place that happens except at Geneva College. And I was very fortunate to have Coach Sullivan and Coach Don Costa to mentor me during those early years when I was a hotshot young guy. And really, they helped pave the way for the program, 30 years later, and there's no question about that.
Let's talk about your NAIA days. Up through, I think, 2006, roughly half of your coaching career, you had the ability to give out partial scholarships. Now in NCAA Division III, no scholarships. And I don't know if it's a coincidence, but of course you won considerably more games at the NAIA level than NCAA Division III. And I know you're still trying to feel your way through, even though it's been over 10 years. Is it a different type of kid that you have to recruit at the NCAA D3 level than when you were in the NAIA or riding high?
I think there's just a number of things. Times have changed. The population has shifted. Really, in the last 15 years, even more so. You can see it across the WPIL. You can see it across Beaver County. One of the great things that we had was the ability to keep all the Beaver County kids at home, or if they decided to go to Division I, to bring them to Geneva. And they've graduated, and they're having great lives and doing very well because they got a Geneva degree. The difference is just trying to find the niche on, being able to recruit and to be able to keep kids healthy, being able to retain that. And, we're working at it. I'm grateful that Dr. Trout is the president. He played football at Geneva. He's from Blackhawk. And we've set some things in motion along with our athletic director, Van Zanik, that I really believe are going to pay off down the road. One of the biggest things that we did now 5, 6, 7 years ago was put the triple option in, because it really fits with the type of young man that we're getting now, very much like young men that are going to some of the service academies. And the offense is very difficult to stop. So I do believe that there's hope and that the future at Geneva College for football is bright.
You mentioned you went to the triple option, and I know a lot of teams are the opposite now. They've gone to the spread, and everybody throws the ball on every down, and puts 5 guys out wide. Yeah. Is it harder to recruit players, to not necessarily recruit, but to find players who fit the option because of the shift away from the running game to the passing game?
Actually, it was harder for us to find offensive linemen in Division III that were bigger bodies. And the reason being, if somebody is 6'3" or 6'4", because of all the Division II schools in the state that will just offer somebody a little bit of scholarship money. And I'm not saying that's wrong, because we did the same thing when we were in NAI. The bigger kids, the taller kids, the wider kids are especially on the offensive and defensive line, are ending up in the D2 level. It was one of the major reasons why we've gone to the triple, is because of the size of our linemen. And it fits with us. The key position, obviously, everybody knows, is you need to have a quarterback that can run it. We've been blessed with a couple of them.
In fact, that brings me to my next point. You had Amos Luptak out of Quaker Valley, 4 years running this offense, and he did it very efficiently. Now, with Amos graduated and on your staff now, you have Brutus Ogilvie. And it seems like, even though you're a run first, pass second still type of offense, it seems like you're passing the ball a little bit more. Is it because maybe Brutus isn't as comfortable as Amos running the triple option, or do you want to utilize his strengths, which appear to be throwing the football, and he's got a couple of good receivers, especially Hilton McLean?
Yeah, we've worked very hard in developing our recruiting to be able to recruit a tight end that is able to split out and be a receiver, and we were able to find that person last year in Jared Ozias. So what that does is really puts a defense in conflict depending on our formation, because he can line up as a tight end or he can line up as a receiver. And I got to tell you, we've got a few really good receivers, and Brutus does a great job on a 3-step game, which we've incorporated into our offense. But the bottom line is, you got to be able to run the football, and that's in this offense. But we're trying to be. I don't think we'll ever be balanced as far as 50-50, but I think you're right. And honestly, our offensive coordinator and Chris Carrata and Tom Quintana from New Brighton, both of those guys have done a great job with this offense, taking it further than what I would do. Being a defensive guy, we would hold on to the ball for 40 minutes, and we might throw the ball 3 times. You could park your car illegally at a game at Geneva, and in 2 hours you go find it again. And people like Pat Tarquino and Coach Hamilton just absolutely love that. But now we're becoming more and more balanced, and I like where these guys have taken the offense, and we'll get there.
I know your defense last week, you had a couple of local kids, Nicholas Ottaviani from Riverside, Brandon Graham from Central Valley, both had double-digit tackles. Can you talk a little bit about them and how they've played this season?
Well, I think those two guys are just exceptional college players. Brandon was a surprise, because you guys know that at Central, he ended up being the MVP of the state championship game, and he ends up at our place. And Nick is an outstanding talent. We have him. We've had a number of injuries. We've had 7 starters out, 3 are lost for the year, but a lot of those are on defense, and especially on the defensive line and at the linebacker position. So these guys, we're trying to make it work. We've got to find a way to stop people. We're grateful that we have an open week this week to work on it. And I really feel that our football team, in the second half of the season is going to mature, and we're going to be able to compete.
We're going to take our first time out. as Coach DeMarco said, Geneva does have their bye week this Saturday. Our next Geneva football game against the newest member of the President's Athletic Conference, Allegheny. It'll be homecoming Saturday up on College Hill, 2:30 airtime, 3 o'clock to kickoff. We're going to take this time out. We want to thank our producers tonight, Curtis Walsh and Zach Boswell. Pizza from Pizza Joe's. Coach, you asked for it. You asked for gluten-free.
Right.
There is gluten-free. Pizza Joe's in Beaver delivers.
Bob, why should I ever doubt you? You've always delivered. I mean, no doubt. I mean, you've always delivered.
Well,
no, and I'm not talking about pizza, but you've always delivered.
Okay. We won't say specifically what I've delivered. We're going to take our first time out. There's pizza here. We're going to be visiting in maybe 10 minutes or so with Brian Taylor Jr., the quarterback of the New Brighton Lions. We'll take this break here on Beaver County Radio and Facebook Live.
There's no place like Community College of Beaver County.
Confidence happens here.
Connection happens here. Opportunity happens here. Your best you happens here. Your future happens here. Home is here. At CCBC, you're right where you need to be to find real learning for real life. And there's still time to join us. Enroll now through October 14th for fall mini-mesters. Same classes, less time. Visit ccbc.edu/fall. You belong here.
Are you in high school and thinking about your future, or know someone who is? Consider Geneva College. Geneva is a Christian college that prepares students for meaningful service and their life's work. Geneva has over 145 majors and programs, 18 varsity sports, 100 study abroad programs, and lots of club activities. And Beaver County scholarships help to make a Geneva education affordable. Learn more by visiting geneva.edu. That's geneva.edu.
Did you know Fisher's New Brighton Foodland is as close as a click? That's right. If you're watching or listening to this broadcast online, open up a new window and click GroceryStoreNewBrighton.com and start shopping right now. Fill your grocery order from New Brighton Foodland and follow Beaver County High School football all at the same time. What could be better? Fill your shopping cart up without ever leaving the sidelines. Visit GroceryStoreNewBrighton.com.
Scoring big at dinner doesn't necessarily have to mean getting the score run up on your family food budget. Level the playing field by shopping at Beaver Falls Save-A-Lot. There's a reason why they say your dollar goes far at Save-A-Lot. Maybe it's time to switch teams, and while you plan for a big playoff run, head out on a grocery store run. Even when time is running out, being able to park close to the door and find what you need in an instant without wading through a maze of aisles makes Beaver Falls Save-A-Lot the right call.
You can run out and buy a new car if you can find one or afford one. Or you can take good care of the one you have. Take it from Steve at Junction Auto Service. It's all about maintenance. A lot of things have changed in the past few years, but taking care of your car isn't one of them. Now more than ever before, it makes good sense to maintain the vehicle you have. And nobody does it better than Junction Auto. Mention you heard this ad and get 10% off any visit. Visit junctionautoservice.com or stop by their location at 425 Constitution Boulevard, New Brighton. No matter what the circumstances, no matter the reason, one of the few things that is left when a loved one passes on are the memories. Staging those memories in an honoring way is one of the reasons so many people have chosen J&J Spratt Funeral Home. A person's legacy depends on a lifetime of accomplishments and then how they are remembered. J&J Spratt Funeral Home has helped start the process of creating positive legacies for over 70 years. Visit jjsprattfh.com. Joseph M. Spratt, Supervisor and Funeral Director.
Returning to the Coach's Corner here on Beaver County Radio and our Facebook Live page. John, no Geneva football this Saturday. Let's talk about the bye week.
Do you know, what do you do on a bye week as far as wanting to keep your team sharp, but yet not wanting to overwork them and give them a little bit of time off here during an off week?
Well, we've taken different approaches over the years. At times we've shut some kids down because of injuries. But typically we practice 3 times, and give the players the weekend off, and that's normally the college approach. But at this point, with what's gone on in our season, we desperately needed some time to get some of our players hopefully back for the Allegheny game, and we are fully preparing right now for them, which is something that we really haven't done. But I just felt like and we feel as coaches with a younger team that we have, that we need to prepare them for the next game. And so we've got 3 practices, and we're making the best of that.
How about as far as from a mental standpoint? I mean, obviously 0-4 is a tough start to the season. How much do you think it helps maybe for your players just to be able to take a step back, maybe just focus a little more on the fundamentals of practice a little? And
well, Monday, after Case, last year we're up at Case, and the game goes down to the last play. And obviously what happened Saturday night is, they just wore us down in the second half. I think they're a pretty good football team. I told our guys on Monday, we did nothing. I said, you need to get away from football for a day and just keep away from it. The toughest thing is, when you got a young team, you got some injuries, and you're playing good people, you got to take the positive. You got to over-accentuate the positive. You got to make sure that you continue to teach. I talked with our staff about it, and we are in the mode of just correcting, making sure that the corrections that we're making get produced on tape. If they're not, then we need to continue to teach. So it's really just, it's really a mode of teaching. Yelling at anybody, isn't going to do one thing. I think our guys are giving effort. It's just very difficult. We got kids playing out of position, and it shows. I mean, we got to find a way to stop people running a ball down our throat. That's not happened to us very often in the 30 years that I've been there. So that is primarily number one. That's what we got to do this week.
You've been without Tyler Lippiatt, the fine junior running back, and apparently he's out for the season, Coach. Now, 2 weeks ago, when you didn't have his services, it was more of a wide open game against Waynesburg. Guys like Logan Kent came in and did a solid job. Gino Mavero did a solid job. Kaiser Brandt, and I think I'm missing someone. But it seemed like, not to say that you didn't miss not having Lippiatt in the lineup, but last week I think it kind of showed more. I think if you have Tyler Lippiatt getting you those 3-4 tough yards, you extend drives, and your defense isn't out on the field indefinitely. And I think when you mentioned that they wore you down, I mean, it was Antonio Orsini, and the offensive line. They just had too many touches. And I think Lippiatt would have been perhaps somewhat the equalizer. I think you really missed them last week. That's my take on it anyway.
I think there's some truth to that. I really do. I believe that Tyler's the runner that you can feed him the ball. And honestly, when he blew his knee out in the Grove City game, it wasn't because of a hit. It was just a freak thing that happened. The same with Darren Myers, who's an exceptional talent as a sophomore, and we lost him in that game as well. But what happened Saturday night is they had a scheme that they were running, and they took advantage of it, and they just, if it works, keep calling the play. And that was something that we hadn't seen from them over the years. It's more been an aerial circus, but they are trying to change the identity of who they are, and they ran the ball. Orsini last year, in our scouting report, I was definitely afraid of that kid from a standpoint of running. Then they threw the ball all over us last year, but we stopped the run. This year, I thought we did a pretty good job of shutting down. You never shut down, a fifth-year senior quarterback like, Saxton, who they have. You never shut a kid like that down. But I thought we did a decent job controlling that. Unfortunately, we just did a bad job. I did a bad job getting our guys defensively ready to put them in the right spot.
Well, Coach, you might be a little hard on yourself, but you look at your 4 losses, and I know football was a 4-quarter game. If it was 2 quarters, I'd like to think you'd be 2-2. You had Worcester down 19-0. You had a great start against Waynesburg, pretty solid start against Case Western, and then, like you said, they wore you down. The only game that I think that maybe was totally decided one way was Grove City, and a lot of teams are going to have problems with Grove City.
Yeah, we actually felt that during that game, that in the first half, we went into the locker room, it was 20-7. We had to make a major adjustment during that game because our game plan really was built on having Darren Myers. And we lose him the second play, we lose Lippiat, we lose our receiver for the year. So I give our coaches a lot of credit. And then, we did some things in the second half that you can't do. You can't put the ball in the turf. If you're going to go for it on 4th down, you better have a play that you're going to make 1 yard. And for us, we've always gone for it on 4th down. You've seen that. And now the people that pay huge money for analytics, we'll go for it. If it's 4th down and a yard, we'll go for it on our own 23. We didn't convert those types of things. And you can't give people those kinds of possessions, on this side of the field. You just can't do it. So we've done some things that have really helped us lose football games. And then we've done some very good things that we see our younger guys starting to improve. And like I said, we're only going to lose 3 seniors off this team. But I'm not, and none of us as coaches are saying, well, let's just wait till next year. I really think this bye week is critical in getting our guys refocused, accentuate the positive, look at where we can place the talent that we have that's now healthy, and put them in the best spot to help us be successful.
You mentioned analytics, and I'm curious. Obviously they're all the rage in baseball, and I know NFL teams have been using them more and more, and it's gotten into the college game, even the high school game a little bit. Do you rely on that much? Do you have anybody chart certain statistics or anything like that?
It was interesting because our athletic director, Van Zanik, Van is a huge analytics guy. Honestly, he's got a gift in that. And he uses it in the softball program. But over the course of the last couple of years, I did subscribe to one source, and it was just based on what defenses were doing, on 3rd down, 3rd and short, 4th and 1, whatever. We look at it from a standpoint of the type of offense we run. We need to be and get to the point where we can use all 4 downs, no matter where we're at on the field. It was very interesting that Texas Tech last week against Texas decided to go for it on 4th and something or other, and they threw a 6-yard pass. They ended up beating the Longhorns in overtime. It was all because the coach bought a service of analytics. Yeah. And it's becoming more and more. Now, you talk to some old school guys, and as coaches, you still got a gut feel. There's still something about the art of coaching during a game where you just get a feel that this thing's going to go. All right? And John, I really don't know. I don't know. In baseball, the amount of information, the overload of information that somebody takes to the batter's box, that pitchers have logged for so long, I don't know. Because every pitch is calculated. And every pitch that's called has been researched. You know that because you've been in the game for so long, and that's the intellectual part of baseball is just unreal. Now football's starting to borrow from some of that stuff, and coaches that are being very successful are using those kinds of tools.
We're going to take our next time out. When we come back, we'll visit with Brian Taylor Jr., the junior quarterback for the New Brighton Lions. We'll take this time out. Thanks again to Pizza Joe's and Beaver for providing the refreshments as they always do. Curtis Walsh manning the controls tonight. And we'll be back to talk to the young quarterback of the New Brighton Lions when the Coach's Corner continues on WBVP, WNBA, 99.3, 95.7 FM, and Facebook Live.
Get your furnace tuned up and fall into savings. Just call Keller Heating and Cooling now through the end of November and get $250 off a new system. A new Daikin system features up to a 12-year warranty. Keller Heating and Cooling is locally founded, Beaver County based, and family owned, serving Beaver County and surrounding areas. Keller firmly believes in supporting small businesses which help the community they call home. Whatever your HVAC needs, call Keller Heating and Cooling, 412-628-2207.
McGee Heating and Air Conditioning in Aliquippa has been in business for nearly 60 years. Now that's experience you can count on when you call McGee Heating and Air Conditioning at 724-375-7112. They'll answer your call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Sue Curlin and her winning team service most brands, and McGee Heating and Air Conditioning is locally owned and operated. As always, they wish their best to our local teams. McGee Heating and Air Conditioning, Main Street, Aliquippa.
Carver Construction in New Brighton is proud of all of our local football teams. They know what it takes to be a winner. It takes dedication, talent, and desire to do your best. All the things Carver Construction offers its customers. They've been doing it since 1982 for both residential and commercial renovations. Carver Construction, 1090 3rd Avenue in New Brighton. Building dreams one home at a time. Call 724-847-1572 or visit their website, carverconstructionpa.com.
Are you in high school and thinking about your future, or know someone who is? Consider Geneva College. Geneva is a Christian college that prepares students for meaningful service and their life's work. Geneva has over 145 majors and programs, 18 varsity sports, 100 study abroad programs, and lots of club activities. And Beaver County scholarships help to make a Geneva education affordable. Learn more by visiting geneva.edu. That's geneva.edu.
Well, Coach DeMarco has stepped out for a Pizza Joe's break, so now we're bringing in a player from Gino's alma mater, the quarterback in his junior year, first year as a starter, Brian Taylor Jr. Brian, you were our Community College of Beaver County player of the game in your game against your arch rivals in Beaver Falls. First of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
Brian, first of all, let's talk about the coaching change. Did you have an inclination, did you and your teammates, did you have a feeling, did Coach Grieco ever talk to you guys and say, this is going to be my last year, guys? Or was it kind of a surprise when you saw that he stepped aside?
It wasn't really a surprise. Like, he told us that he was going to be retired. Half the players already knew that he was going to. So we already knew he was going to have a new coach next year. So we just had to adapt.
What has the transition been like to go from one coach to another, as far as obviously personality, but I would imagine just kind of the X's and O's part of it, and the schemes you run and things like that.
It's been harder because last year Coach Grieco, it's just different this year with a different coach. Like, it's just more physical and like more fast paced.
Mm-hmm.
Tony Kaltori, who of course you're referring to in his first season as a head coach. And Coach Kaltori, I've known Tony for a while, brings a lot of enthusiasm. Mm-hmm. He knew coming into the season that he was going to have a young football team, 6 seniors. Mm-hmm. How have you guys dealt with it? I mean, last week you broke on top of Mohawk. Was that the first time this year that you've been ahead in a game to that point?
Yeah.
Okay. So was it kind of like, how did you handle that then? Was it awkward because you were chasing other teams, powerhouses, but you scored the first touchdown? That had to make you guys feel, at least for a while, hey, we're in this game.
Yeah. We scored a touchdown, and then we just had to just stay in the game. But yeah, we just had to stay in the game. Really.
And one thing I noticed, I did your game with Rochester, and obviously it didn't go the way that you guys wanted. But even all the way to the fourth quarter, and I know in a game like that, it's easy just to maybe give up a little bit and just start looking ahead to the next game. But you guys kept playing hard. You kept fighting. I mean, you kept playing the game the right way all the way to the end of the game. How important is that to keep that attitude, especially when it's been a tough year so far, to keep that positive attitude and just keep fighting and keep doing everything you can to get better?
Well, Coach Kaltori, he, like during the summer and now, up to now, he taught us to just keep going, like until the whistle blows, until the last buzzer. So we just keep going until we can.
Brian, who did you bring here with you tonight to the coach's corner?
I brought my mom and my mom's boyfriend.
Okay, are they your biggest fans?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. And she's recording this, so I think you're doing a pretty good job, but I don't know. She might have a higher standard than I do for your performance. But Brian, do you see, you're in a tough conference. I mean, I think if you were in a lot of other conferences, we wouldn't see the results that we've been seeing. But unfortunately, you're in the same conference with Beaver Falls and the Shantic, who you're going to see this week, and Riverside and Freedom. These are not easy games. Do you see progress, even though your games haven't exactly been close? Do you see something to build on as the second half of the year gets ready to go and in the next year?
Yeah, I do. I see a lot of progress, really. Our team just needs to stay focused and just keep coming to practice every day.
Gary Pugh was the quarterback the last half of last year. Now he's back on the team. He missed a couple weeks, but Coach Kaltori decided he's going to be a receiver. Is that the plan? Are you the quarterback as far as you know the rest of the season?
Well, me and Gary Pugh, we've been switching out, like last game against who did we just
Mohawk.
Yeah, Mohawk. We were switching out because like on certain plays, like different plays, and we just had to execute it, really.
You like playing quarterback? It's kind of the glamour position. Everyone kind of has their eye on you. Do you enjoy it? How long have you played it for a long time, or is this still relatively new? Or
no, I've played quarterback all my life.
Oh, okay.
Brian, we want to thank you. We wish best luck. Coach DeMarco said a few things to you during one of our commercial breaks. I'm sure that has to hit home. I'm sure that means a lot. He says, hang in there, guys. I mean, don't give up. This and build on what you've been able to do and go forward. And for Coach DeMarco to say that, that's got to make an imprint on you, does it not?
Yeah, it does. It really does. That means it really shows that he sees potential in me, really.
Brian, congratulations again, CCBC Player of the Game. Let's go out and get a couple W's, okay?
Yeah.
All right, good luck to you.
Thank you.
Brian Taylor Jr., the quarterback for the New Brighton Lions. We'll take our final timeout. We'll be back to wrap up this edition of the Coach's Corner with Geneva head coach Gino DeMarco here on Beaver County Radio.
Did you know Fisher's New Brighton Foodland is as close as a click? That's right. If you're watching or listening to this broadcast online, open up a new window and click GroceryStoreNewBrighton.com and start shopping right now. Fill your grocery order from New Brighton Foodland and follow Beaver County High School football all at the same time. What could be better? Fill your shopping cart up without ever leaving the sidelines. Visit GroceryStoreNewBrighton.com.
You can run out and buy a new car if you can find one or afford one. or you can take good care of the one you have. Take it from Steve at Junction Auto Service. It's all about maintenance. A lot of things have changed in the past few years, but taking care of your car isn't one of them. Now more than ever before, it makes good sense to maintain the vehicle you have. And nobody does it better than Junction Auto. Mention you heard this ad and get 10% off any visit. Visit junctionautoservice.com or stop by their location at 425 Constitution Boulevard, New Brighton. No matter what the circumstances, no matter the reason, one of the few things that is left when a loved one passes on are the memories. Staging those memories in an honoring way is one of the reasons so many people have chosen J&J Spratt Funeral Home. A person's legacy depends on a lifetime of accomplishments and then how they are remembered. J&J Spratt Funeral Home has helped start the process of creating positive legacies for over 70 years. Visit jjsprattfh.com. Joseph M. Spratt, Supervisor and Funeral Director.
There's no place like Community College of Beaver County. Confidence happens here. Connection happens here. Opportunity happens here. Your best you happens here. Your future happens here. Home is here. At CCBC, you're right where you need to be to find real learning for real life. And there's still time to join us. Enroll now through October 14th for fall mini-mesters. Same classes, less time. Visit ccbc.edu/fall. You belong here.
And we have our last segment, Coach Gino DeMarco, in the middle of his 30th year as the head coach of the Geneva College Golden Tornadoes. And John, it doesn't seem like 30 years ago
No, it doesn't.
That he was named the new head coach at the age of 32, I think?
I believe, yeah, 32. And, back then I had hair and, well, I don't think Gino did. Yeah.
No.
But anyway, Gino, I mean, you've got 154 wins on your resume. You're the all-time winningest coach by far in Geneva history. How do you handle a year that's gotten off the way it has this year when you're used to winning and having a winning program?
Truthfully, in some ways, I'm not handling it very well. And the bedrock for me is it's just something that I've got to rely on my faith in Christ. And I know that's like a standard answer coming from a coach at a Christian school, but that's the only way I can put it in any kind of perspective. When you lose as a coach and you've been in it for so long, it's very hard to describe to people that have not been involved in athletics what that feeling is like. It is it's not a good place, So I've got to get my own emotions out of it because I'm responsible for a staff of 12 guys and I'm responsible for a team of 100 kids. And whether I like it or not, I've got to be able to minister to them as coaches and to our players as young men. And, I'm telling you, I really felt going into all of our games that we had an opportunity to win. We have a saying that really, honestly, it probably goes back to Coach Sullivan since '75. I mean, to think of one place that's only had 2 head coaches since 1975 is just, it just boggles my mind. But it's always us is always us. And a lot of times in games, it comes down to this, us versus us, and we just got to eliminate us making the mistakes that's causing us to lose games. And it's all part of a process. So that's a long answer.
No.
I'm sorry.
It's less I have to talk. The more you
Bob,
the more you
the
talk.
gluten-free pizza was tremendous.
Good.
I loved the picture in the back with all the the rock stars over the years. I took a picture of my 3 favorite ones back there.
Okay,
And,
good. I'm glad this was a educational experience for
Well,
you.
it was actually this has actually been very therapeutic for me. Yeah. Okay, especially having John here.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, yeah. John's
Therapy's my middle name.
He always provides good therapy.
Yeah. By the way, can I book you weekly for the next 6 weeks? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be glad to come and help out the alma mater in any way I can.
Well, you'd be helping out tremendously.
Well,
thank you.
Count on me.
Coach, are you satisfied with the number of local kids from Beaver County going to Geneva? What do you sell most about when you go to a kid's home? What do you try to sell the most on those kids to stay home and go to Geneva?
No, I'm not satisfied. I think it's something that we need to do a lot of work in. And the biggest thing is, like what was said to me in 1978, was, hey, you get an opportunity to get out of here. Why don't you see another place instead of where you're living? And I know every coach that recruits the county does that. And let's not kid ourselves. Geneva's a very special place. It's a very different place. I understand the type of school that we are. I just wish that we could get more local talent, because I really believe, and John will attest to this, that a Geneva education changes your life. It really does. It changes your life. And you want to see that happen with our local guys. You want to see that happen to our county. You want to be able to keep these kids in our area, and when they get older, be able to settle here, get a job in Pittsburgh, and just be part of the community. That's the thing that I'd like to see before, it's time to.
And it is hard, because when you're 17, 18 years old, your initial thought is, I want to get out of Beaver County. I want to see somewhere else in the world. And as Gino did, Gino went to Baldwin Wallace after he graduated from New Brighton, and sometimes you go and you realize, like, hey, Beaver County's probably a little cooler place than I thought it would be. And I know you've always had success that way too, with kids that went away and said, I kind of miss home. Maybe I was pretty well off being back in Beaver County. And I know you've had a lot of success with those type of players come home and really fit well into Geneva. And I guess, I know it's not a recruiting strategy necessarily to try to say, hey, when you transfer, come here. But I would think that has to help at least plant a seed in local kids' minds when you recruit.
We typically would have talked to everybody back in the day, for that specific reason. Now we know that the recruiting has taken on such a different magnitude. It's less face to face than it is now. Internet and tweeting messages out, and one of the best things that we do is face to face. And if we can get a young man and his family to come and visit and get a face-to-face with them, we have an opportunity. We got a shot.
Yep.
Gino DeMarco, our final moments with the head coach.
Wait a minute. You mean final moments? Like,
no.
What do you know that I don't know?
Of this show.
Bob, what do you know that I don't know? Why'd you say final moments? What's
Final
that mean?
Herm Edwards is
All right.
Okay.
That brings me
Herm
to,
Edwards.
That
Go
brings
ahead,
me
say
to
it,
a
John.
point.
Herm Edwards.
Jeff
Collins, and Scott. Go ahead.
Frost.
Scott
Yes,
Frost.
they're all
Right.
available.
Yeah. Thanks. Appreciate
Throwing it
that.
out there.
Really did.
Coach, do you have a timetable? I mean, most coaches don't go 30 years.
Yeah, I got a timetable.
Especially
I'm supposed
now.
to be home at 8:15.
Okay.
That's the only timetable I got. Okay?
All right.
And I know that tomorrow I got to teach class at 8 a.m., which honestly is one of the best business classes ever taught at Geneva. I've only been doing it for 30 years. I don't have a timetable. I mean, I just love being around our coaches and our players, and just right now hurt for them. And what are you going to do? In football, you can't sit in a corner and cry and just say, man, we're really having a tough year with young guys and injuries, and then especially people to come in to Reeve Stadium and just say, hey, you know what, we feel bad for you. We really do. Heck no. That's just not the way the game is.
No.
It's not the way the game is. So we're going to be fine. We're going to get through this, and I'm totally confident that the end of the season is going to be better than the start.
John?
Gino, it has been 30 years, and I know we talked about it some, but why, what, a lot of people burn out in jobs, not coaching,
Yeah.
any job. You haven't. You still have that same fire that you had as long as I've known you, going all the way back, even before you were the head coach at Geneva, but especially since you became the head coach. What do you think has kept that fire burning all those years for you?
We heard it today in chapel. You're living a life of purpose.
Yeah.
You know, when you're coaching in a place where there's an absolute purpose to what you're doing, I wish I could tell you don't look at the scoreboard. Fellas, I'm having a hard time with that, okay? The scoreboard at times, and let's face it, in our culture in America, whether you're in coaching, whether you're in business, whether you're in medicine, whether you're doing anything, you know, whether you're running a broadcasting station, whether you're running a radio station, people are looking at numbers, performance. And I think the thing is, over the years, even though we stayed at one place, we've tried to reinvent ourselves and stay ahead of the curve. You know, we were running that kind of offense. We were throwing it all over the place. I didn't like it because we couldn't get those kids, and we were really soft on defense. So I really believe, you know, what we're doing is going to help down the road.
Well, you get a week off, at least on the field, and you have Allegheny, the newest member. Tell us real quickly, Coach, we're running out of time. We're down to about a minute. Allegheny, what should we see in this football team?
Well, I think they do a super job, an excellent job with their offense as far as running the football. They got a quarterback that was very productive last year and has continued that production. You know, they got a head coach that has been at every level, and Rich has done a great job with in his 4 years at Allegheny. I'm glad they're back in the pack. I know they're glad to be back in the pack, but I'm also glad that we're playing them at home on homecoming day, you know, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Coach, best of luck to you.
Thanks,
as
Paul.
always, thanks for the visit.
Thanks for the pizza.
Oh, well, get
John,
some more. Pizza Joe's.
Thanks for the interview.
Oh, you're welcome, Gino.
Yes.
It's good to catch up, good to talk, and good to razz you a little bit, because that's always one of the highlights of my year.
Yes.
I will see John day after tomorrow. I guess I'll see Curtis Walsh day after tomorrow at Central Valley, Blackhawk in Central Valley on WBVP, Wnba, Quaker Valley at Hopewell, Mike Azadian. No, Mike's doing the Saturday game with you, John. I'll get this right. Rod Matsey and Bruce Fry have the Friday night game. We'll be on the air at 6:30. Again, thanks to Brian Taylor Jr. of New Brighton, our CCBC player of the game, for all of us, and Coach DeMarco. Go Golden Tornadoes. Best of luck. A week from Saturday, 2:30 airtime. We'll have it on the Golden Tornado Network. Good night, everybody. Beaver County Radio, WBVP, WNBA, 99.3, 95.7, and Facebook Live.